so many things to talk about here. And maybe I won't spend as long as I want to on this match because I don't want to belabor the point. I've talked a lot about Kyle O'Reilly versus Jon Moxley and what I think of it. But distilled, I just wanted on the record that not only is Jon Moxley so good at this stuff, it's becoming obvious what he has his fingerprints on, which I always think is a nice credit to pay for a wrestler. And he's showing that it's really not that hard. And here's what I mean. Across 4 matches, which already off the gate, if I said, hey, Ryan, we're going to book John, and think of where Kyle O'Reilly was 4 weeks ago. If I say, hey, Ryan, we're going to book Jon Moxley versus Kyle O'Reilly, oh, that'd be a good match. It'll be fun to see. You know, they'll both do sort of an MMA thing. It'll be a fun match. If I told you we're going to do 2 matches with these guys, you go, oh, okay, well, maybe, you know, something left meat on the bone. Okay. We're going to do 3 matches with these guys. You go, okay, well, okay, or at least they're going to engage in blood and guts for a 3rd time. Okay, well, sure, don't, you know. Okay, we're doing the 4th match on pay-per-view. A month ago, that would have sounded, not just to Ryan, I'm just using him as the example, to me, to anybody, as a pretty bold thing to do. Basically, Mox fresh off of losing to Darby with a mid-carder across 4 matches. And that's right, Ashton Kutcher. None of them are a clean Mox win or a Mox win at all. And so lots of them don't even have clean finishes. Okay, so we say all that. You might even say, Josh, that sounds like kind of boring or poorly constructed or whatever you'd say. It is such a linear story. These old podcast heads that we cover on They Said What? Oh, these guys, they don't, it's just moves. They don't tell in-ring stories. Well, I hope they all have Kyle O'Reilly and Jon Moxley as their feud of the year. What is a clearer story told in between the ropes this year than Jon Moxley versus Kyle O'Reilly? You could say Hangman and Mox had like a more personal story, or you know, you can point it in a bunch of different directions. But in terms of between the ropes, who told a story in the ring? Well, I think anybody, the most rudimentary person who just started watching pro wrestling, could tell you what Kyle O'Reilly exposed in Jon Moxley across these matches, what Mox's evolution or de-evolution has been across these 4 matches. And positionally, it would of course be ridiculous for me to say these guys have flipped, but certainly the elevation of Kyle O'Reilly. There's no opponent I could pitch to the chat tonight and say, hey, this Wednesday, Kyle O'Reilly versus X. Now, I do think we're probably going to continue this feud still, but just to show how far Kyle O'Reilly's gone. Kyle O'Reilly is top of card. If I said he's going against Kenny, he's live against Kenny now. Sure. I know they're both babyface. I'm just using top of card guys. If I'm saying, oh, you know, yeah, he's getting Claudio. He's beating Claudio. For sure he's beating Claudio. That was not the case a month ago. This is what elevation looks like. And I think sometimes this is idea that it's like, well, let's do this promo and, you know, little character nudges and we'll book him super strong and 2 years from now we'll have a star. That is real and that does work. You know, Okada, Roman Reigns, it's a way to build a star. But look at what you can do with a mid-carder. How many times has Kyle O'Reilly lost in AEW? Dozens and dozens and dozens. Kyle O'Reilly was not built to be a destroyer. Kyle O'Reilly isn't a destroyer. Kyle O'Reilly has Mox's number, and that's a story. Jon Moxley cannot get past the grappling of Kyle O'Reilly. And in fact, every time Kyle O'Reilly grapples him more and more, Mox gets worse at it. He gets more nervous. He's panic tapping. He is so in his own head about how he cannot grapple with Kyle O'Reilly. Jon Moxley has done nothing but tap people out for the better part of the year. I just think it's great. I cannot, and it feels like I'm not praising it if I'm just saying it's so simple, it's so easy, but it's elegant in its simplicity, and it needs to be duplicated because these 2 greats, being Kyle O'Reilly and Jon Moxley, made it look easy. On top of that, I'm a big Kyle O'Reilly fan. Everybody knows that. I think every Vancouverite probably got a chance to see him in a small room doing amazing things as ECCW champion, ASW champion, all these things. But I'll say this. Anyone on earth has never wanted to give Kyle O'Reilly the push like Jon Moxley has. If you would have asked me at any point in time, what's the highest you'd go with Kyle O'Reilly? I would have said, yeah, you know, this level. Upper mid-card. World title challenger. Jon Moxley is telling us, nope, wrong. The guy. That's who Kyle O'Reilly is. He's the guy. You know why? Because I'm the guy and he's beating me. You watch the show? He's beating me across 40 minutes. For months. Or for 6 weeks. It's just like it's such a good spending of the dollars you put in the bank of the Death Riders run. Now it's Darby goes over. Now it's Kyle O'Reilly goes over. Who's next? Who's going up the card on the Jon Moxley Express? Because we built him up over the last year. He's not done, I can tell you that. He might not lose his next feud. He might even beat Kyle O'Reilly now that he's so securely made at the top. However, Kyle O'Reilly's going to win bigger matches down the road. I can tell you that for sure. And Jon Moxley's going to put more people over. He's going to empty the tank for him. And it's beyond how good the matches and promos are. I've even talked about it. It's like, oh, and also the resume of matches and promos are world class by Jon Moxley. That's an aside. Just how much he gets it and how much he lives and breathes what he actually, oh, no, we need new guys. We need to improve. He's doing it. Hanger, Darby, Kyle O'Reilly, McVander Huge. How about Daniel Garcia? He's going to do it for Dan Garcia.
Oh, yeah.
There's got to be more. Anyway, I haven't even talked about the match, which was, of course, outstanding. They open up with this very long waist lock exchange, which already tells you that it's like, no, I need to be the dominant grappler. Like, they want to send this. It's like, no, before we even hit the mat, I need to land in top position here. I don't think I've ever seen, it was like, you could almost see a comedy match with like Toru Yano doing like a waist lock exchange for that long. But then from there, everything is wrenched in. Everything is bloody. Fork to the head. Ground and pound with a fist covered in chain. A really nice reversal out of the Jon Moxley Bulldog choke, which is a very over choke, by the way. Both these guys. I mean, also, I'm not just going to keep talking about how great Jon is at getting things over, but how over is the Kyle O'Reilly footlock? The moment he drops for that thing, the ankle lock, the crowd's up. Because they know it's lethal. Because they know Jon Moxley doesn't tap easily, and they know he taps to that. It's just great. The whole thing's so good. The match, I thought for sure this would be essentially my match of the night, except that the main event was just so directionally green flag in terms of where I want them to go that it's impossible for me to not put it in that spot. But Jon Moxley, not to give away the year-end show, but I just cannot imagine Jon Moxley is not my wrestler of the year. I don't know what Gabe Kidd would have to enter the Continental Classic, win it, and have a match of the year on World's End and on Dynamite every week leading up. It's just Mox's year. As much as it was sort of Hangman's year, it was really Mox's year, at least to me. And tonight's just a really great example why. And I'm excited to see where Kyle O'Reilly can go with this vote of confidence up the card. Badass.
We are so bad at this YouTube stuff. So if you would give us a hand, hit like, hit subscribe, maybe tell a friend about Wrestling Brain, this YouTube channel. Of course, you can always check out the full streams over at twitch.tv/Wrestling Brain.